Ken says, when I was 36, lawn contracting wasn't hard work. When I was 50, it was hard. So interesting, ideas that you can think about for yourself. Tony Gallagher says, sing the song Let It Go. A little bit of Frozen action there, which is great. Ken's getting very positive on Kelly's ideas as well. She also says positive feedback directly from your customers that you serve really makes it worth it. Changing the meaning really makes the difference. I'm grateful that I have a job that I can help push us forward until we get where we want to go.
Of course, and that which is true,
Kelly, as well.
Yeah, look, it's awesome, and that's the approach. The approach is, I'm so grateful that I'm doing this job. I'm so grateful that I'm able to contribute. But these are things that you're saying to yourself internally to help yourself get up and about. And here's the thing: when we start to have that positive outlook towards what we do, we get better at it. We take pride in what we do. We don't take shortcuts. We don't leave bits in the corner. She'll be right, And there's a saying. I have many sayings, as you all know. But one is that the standard that you walk past is the standard that you set. So in a job like that, in a job like in all of our jobs, if you go, and I constantly say this to myself all the time, but if you go and cut a corner, or Ken, if you don't quite do the cone as well, and you just go here you go, the standard you walk past is the standard you set. You're now setting that standard, and that is in relation to our own performance. I then use that same saying in relation to managers. We've got a number of clients of mine who are managers of big teams, and from a leadership point of view, if they're cutting corners as leaders, then that's the message that you're sending down the line. Well,
it's kind of like that you've lost the meaning then, Tony, isn't it? If you're in that situation, if you're not.
Oh, it's just a different meaning. It's a different meaning. It's still got a meaning. Everything has a meaning, right? But it's just a different meaning to the meaning is I got to get the hell out of there. The meaning is bugger that, they're not looking. So I'll just
I want to go back to that because you talked about hatred earlier. But before we do, is I think Kelly and Ken have talked about the whole thing about cherry on top that I explained. And Ken actually says the recognition does not come or happen. It doesn't matter. It should be your purpose to do the best job that you can and provide the best service that you can. Receiving accolades is what Luke said about the cherry on top. So that's the whole idea about, we want to instill that within you guys to think about you're not needing or wanting the feedback. You're doing it for yourself, that focus as well, which is super important. The meaning is then with you and not with external forces. So, just highlighting that again and again and again might help us look at those different situations that are coming up for different people and get you to focus on what's happening for you in your role. So that's what's super important. But I do want to get it back to the hatred of things, Tony, in terms of if you are in a position that you really hate, you despise, and, is that then going to move you towards a place that you want to be, or are you digging that hole? Maybe that's a conversation for another time, but, and that's might be a whole new topic that we maybe think to explore a little bit more.
What so let's put that on your list and let's cover that off for next week. There you go. We're giving ourselves a week notice. My gosh, look at us go. But the thing that I'd say is that it's one thing to have the hatred towards your job. It's what you do next, right? So what you do next is the thing. So if I take
Tony, is it the
action? It's the action. It's then I hate my job.
Awareness.
But I'm going to stay in my job, which is going to then be a self-fulfilling prophecy. Then you'll always hate your job. Versus I hate my job. What else can I do? What are the other things that I'd like to do? What do I feel is my calling? What Ken touched on purpose, right? And so I think back to me, the reason I wanted to leave my job is because I wasn't feeling as fulfilled as I once was. That's the honest truth. So then I said to myself, what am I going to do to change the situation for me? I had to go and replace a very big income, and I had to think about what were the things. But I sat there for a long time before that, I can assure you, where I hate my job, I'm not feeling fulfilled, and did nothing about it. But at the start of 2015, the saying is when change happens, when the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the change itself. And that happened for me in the start of 2015. I could no longer take it anymore. I was on Christmas break. because, over the sort of turn of 14 to 15. And I said, that's it. That's it. And then the rest is history. So, and again, it's not been easy, but the rest is history bit is a story for a whole other, episodes and episodes. But my point is that I wasn't happy with where I was at. And for many years before that, I wasn't happy, but I did nothing about it. But I finally took the courage to do something about it in 2015.
Kat says, happy Sunday, guys. Can't stay on for long. Off to volunteer. Good on you, Kat. But have a great day. So good on you for doing the work that you are doing. Tony, we might as well get into some of the ideas around that we wanted to explore theory-wise. I know we've been talking a lot of stories so far, and I think that's where the gold is in this for people. We're using those stories from the people who are on here to get that interaction going, to actually serve a real good purpose for those individuals. And then hopefully others that maybe are listening in the background can hear those ideas that we're talking about, the true meaning for you, maybe the feedback and the cherry on top for from others can be a really good point to think about for everyone. I'm going to get into, before I do, Ken says, a topic can be losing the passion. After 13 years of being a lawn contractor, I lost the passion and lost my drive. So I sold it 12 months later. That's an interesting, and maybe we can really focus on that one that Ken said, losing the passion is a really good one around that. And, and then it's starting to become hatred. So the steps that come into that idea of what's going on. But back to the true meaning, I guess when we think about on the theory side of things is what is the current meaning? That's where the awareness is. And how will it affect you? Tony?
Well, we have covered this. I mean, how it'll affect you is that what you think about, you become, and so it's a case of if you think negatively, then you'll bring negative stuff into your world. If you think positively about things, then you'll bring positive things into your world. If you think that today is going to be hard, that you feel tired today, you will be tired today. Like, this is not hocus pocus. This is not magic. This is real. And thoughts become things. And so it's about whatever you're thinking about, whatever meaning you're placing on the day ahead of you. Because some of us will be waking up today and going, oh my gosh, Sunday, I've got to go to work tomorrow. It's horrible. And others will be going, oh my gosh, it's Sunday and it's amazing. I'm so excited. And we're able to go outside and whatever it might be. And we don't have restrictions around COVID, blah, 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 whatever. Right. So it's about the meaning that we're placing on things, and it will fundamentally change the outcome. But thoughts become things, and this is the one thing that has absolutely been driven home to me in all of my studies around personal development is thoughts become things. When you think you can, what's the saying from Henry Ford? Whether you think you can or think you can't, either way you're right. Either way. So you decide which way you want to think. That's the choice that we all have. And you can think negatively, you can think pessimistically, or you can think positively and optimistically, but the choice is entirely yours.
Yeah, absolutely. Daniel, good to have you on as well. Tony explored the idea. It was, I discovered it was the hatred for, not the hatred for the job, rather middle management attitude. And now that has changed. That has been changed, and the people have been moved on and out of the business. And yes, I've brought into the new team as they need the support. I am creating plans on how to improve what we are doing. So well done to you, Tony, and good to hear those stories about the changes that are going on for you. Ken says, it's Sunday, I'm going to fill my wallet. Yes, 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 says Ken. And going back to that whole idea, Tony, about what is it meaning and how will it affect you? I wrote something down here is what is the meaning of the words that you are using, which goes along with what you said. You become what you think about, or whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. So really reflect on the words that you're using. And this is where we go really deep into the interactions that we're having here or the comments that are coming through, and really dig into the words that you guys are using out there. So the biggest reflection you can have for yourself is really listen to the words that you're using in conversation. That can be a real good idea of starting the awareness aspect of the meaning for you.
Awareness. The word that came up for me was awareness. And we can say the same words, but depending upon the non-verbals behind us, depending upon the body language, depending upon the intent behind it, so I could sit here and say, I'm really excited about today. Or I could say, you know what? I'm so excited about today. I've said exactly the same thing, but the intent behind it, the drive behind it, the effort, the energy, etc., behind it is very, very different. So it's not just the words; it's the meaning around the words. Like you said, it's the non-verbal. The pitch, the energy, the intention, right? The intention. So many people say empty words, empty promises, right? There's no intention, but it's there to fill space versus the intention behind it as well.
I like that. Words, tone, energy, intention. There's probably other words that can be used around that to really find the full meaning of what you are actually saying. But I guess energy is a big one, and you can feel that body language. Often what is communicated is 75% or something like that is actually non-verbal. It is our body language. It is our energy. And I know that, and you probably get that a little bit as well, Tony, is people are videos I do, whether I start with a little bit of a dance and a high energy, people have a little bit of laugh, but they really connect with that energy. And it's like, and it's other people having conversations. And I got a message during the week from someone that I don't even know, that a friend of mine said, oh, you want to talk about property or whatever, you should go and see Luke. Oh, and he was like, is that the guy that has got, the high energy dances at the start of videos? It's like, yeah, that's the guy. So, that then has a reflection and it filters through with other people to see that what kind of energy and then, what kind of connection you can get out of that energy creating.
But there'll also be people who are then put off by that, right? Yeah. So then ultimately it's about you being true to you doing what you want to do, what's important, you control what you can control. And then outside of that, if people are drawn to that energy, that is awesome. That is awesome. And if people are repelled away from that energy, well, that's awesome as well, because you're being you. And I think that is the important thing in all of this, is that be true to yourself, have awareness around yourself, do the things that you want to do, don't do things to conform to other people. And this is where a lot of us spend our life, unfortunately, is we're constantly conforming to others around us. Whereas do the thing that you want to do. And I know the reasons behind why you do that as well, and so it gives you energy, but it's also the awareness stuff. There's so much, so many feeds in social media. You need to be able to draw people's attention. I think it's incredibly clever, quite frankly, but I just know that other people will then be repelled. So you'll have those that are attracted and those that are repelled. That's okay. Do your thing.
Yeah, you often, and when it comes to business, and you're a business coach, Tony. So we're probably in a position that if we're going to have better connections and do better business, where we're being our true selves.
Well, I mean, that's the thing about in order to be a business coach, here's the extent of what you need to do. You need to grab your Instagram account and you can simply change your job title to business coach. And that's what I'm up against. I'm up against people who it's got a very low barrier to entry to be a business coach. I think buyer's agent is marginally high because at least you need to get a real estate license, but it's marginally higher than being a business coach. And so that's then about being credible, integrity, acting with vulnerability, being true to yourself, etc. And that's why I do this. That's why I do so many other videos all over the place, because people then will make a decision. The number of people that come to me and say, I've been following your videos for the last couple of months and now I'm ready to engage, versus, business coach. It's like, well, there's so many business coaches out there. And how do I then cut through the other business coaches? And I cut through the other business coaches because I do this sort of stuff. I invite myself to wherever I can to speak. I do my own speaking. We're about to go on the road again in 2021, which I'm very excited about. So I'm going to be doing a lot more speaking because I want people to come and see it for themselves and make their own mind. But here's the thing with all this. I'm not bothered if people see what I do and they're drawn to me, or see what I do and they're repelled from me. Either way, I get to put my head on the pillow very comfortably each and every night, and knowing that I have done the best that I could have. Can I improve? 100%. Do I improve every day? 100%. But on that particular moment, I did the best that I could at that time. And if people are either going to like it or they don't, I don't get then caught up in the, oh my gosh, I only got 1 like or 2 likes or 20 likes or whatever. Yes, we look at those things to go, hey, what can we do different? But we don't get caught up in it.
Yeah, looking, and that goes back to our topic of the true meaning. Tony, how do we change the meaning?
Awareness. Thoughts, catch yourself. Awareness. Ask those two questions. What went well? What can I do different? Catch yourself. If you notice that, you know what, there was a study done, I need to dig it up. There was a study done that the most number of heart attacks in America happen at 8:30 a.m. on a Monday morning, right? It's staggering. So what that says to me is the meaning of, oh my gosh, I'm traveling into work, I'm about to sit in a cubicle or go to somewhere that I don't like, and I'm creating additional stress for myself, right? There's a study on that. Here's the thing, catch yourself, right? If you notice that you're not thinking the way that you'd like to be thinking, catch yourself. It's called awareness. But here's the thing, when you become aware of it and then you go, no, I can't be bothered. Okay, that's fine. If you're aware and you choose not to do anything about it, that's cool. That's on you, right? Alternatively, but don't complain about it. Don't complain if you become aware and aren't doing anything about it and complaining. I've got an issue with that. If someone's aware they're behaving in a particular way and they're not changing, then and they're happy with that, be happy with that, right? And so it's about awareness plus taking the action. And with the action, and again, go back to what I said earlier, it's about just do one thing. Don't try and go from here to here overnight. Luke didn't start off running the way that he did. It's like just do one thing. So if you wherever you're at, if you're in a job, like I said, if there's a Monday morning meeting that you know that you always go to that and you drag your feet in and you plonk your books on the desk and you hate being in that meeting, why don't you tomorrow change the meaning about the meeting? Today, think about the positives of that meeting. Think about the positives of that workplace and take that into your meeting tomorrow and let us know how you go. Let us know what that does. Now, I'm not suggesting that that's going to cure you, but it's a start, and you've got to start there. And then you've got to take that same meaning, the positive meaning, to the next meeting and the next meeting, or the task that you're doing, or the people that you're meeting, or whatever it might be. But you just got to start by doing it once.
I guess the interesting part of it as well is having awareness of your current situation, but also having awareness about what that stress is actually creating for you.
Yeah.
To use Ken as the example, it is like thinking about to himself, it's bloody hard work. Thinking about that he's going to be tired and exhausted and feeling, so caught up in the actual work around it and all the things that he has to do to get those smiles on the face. But what kind of stress is that putting on your body if you reflect about that 8:30 a.m. on a Monday morning for those people in America that where the heart attacks gain? So it is awareness that what kind of impact are those negative thoughts actually going to have for you?
And that's the mindset stuff, right? That's the whole mindset side of things, is that we as humans have the ability to carry things with us for as long as we want to. As in, we can take negative events that happened so long ago and we conjure it up in our mind, and some of us can't let those things go. And we dwell on the past. And then when we dwell on the past, it creates all of this negativity, and the negativity can lead to then, like you said, stress and high blood pressure and all these other negative factors that are health issues that are killing some of us because of the stresses that we're putting ourselves under unnecessarily. Because if we change the meaning around certain things, then we'll be able to cope a whole lot better.
Kelly says your actions can completely change the whole outcome to escalate or diffuse any situation that you find yourself in. Kelly thinking very high level at the moment.
Look, I love it. And also, look, when you talk about diffusing situations, quite often, one of the things when we get a little bit hot under the collar is the case of remove yourself. Remove yourself. I'm not finishing that conversation right now. I'm going to remove myself. Or you might have come off a difficult conversation, and if you're in an office, get up, walk to the water cooler, or walk outside if you can, or whatever it might be. How often do you hear that? Don't send an email, for example, when you're angry. You might draft it up, hit save, close the lid down on your laptop, and just walk for a bit. You know what I mean? So you introduce some movement, you just change that environment around you momentarily. Eventually you have to send the email, but at least if you come back to it with a little more clarity, you might go, you know what, actually, I need to reword the way that I frame that up, and I need to just tone things down, whatever it might be, right? But if you're constantly putting yourself in a tense, high stress, high pressure situation, I can assure you, physiologically, that is a disaster waiting to happen.
Good point. She also said, Luke, your dancing is part of you, and those that are engaged and inspired by you, Luke, means that the people who will engage with you on your level. So, and she said, go, Luke. Go, Kelly. She also says, you tell it like it is, Tony, and it is appreciated by those who want to improve their lives. So very good feedback from Kelly today. So she's getting super involved in conversation, which is great. That's going to be something that then starts to lift her level of consciousness around what she's doing, and bringing a better meaning, or a truer meaning, to what she's doing as well. So congratulations to Kelly.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for your positive comment around me. But the point is that I've also taught myself over many years that I then am able to separate. Whilst I'm happy to give people advice, in fact, to get paid to give them advice, if they're not going to do that, take that advice, then it's the old saying of you can lead a horse to water. Now, I certainly work on different techniques. So a lot of people don't always do what I want them to. We work on different techniques to get them out of their own way. And there's a whole range of reasons behind that, the fears, the doubts, the lack of self-belief, all those types of things. But ultimately, if someone is not taking on the advice, then I can't wear the burden of that. And so I've taught myself to not wear the burden of that over many, many, many years.
Tony, just that final point that we want to talk about is, why is it so important?
And we've gone through it, right? But it's so important because the meaning you place on something is then going to mean what happens next. I place some negative meaning on something, I'm not really going to feel inspired to do that. I place some positivity, some optimism, some excitement, some joy on something, I'm going to want to do more and more of that. It's the meaning that I place on things. For example, take sales calls. Like the number of people I have a chat to and they don't want to do sales calls. Like I had this conversation earlier this week around someone who wasn't doing a sales call because she was fearful of getting a no, getting rejected, right? So instead she didn't make the sales call. And I said, what about if you flip the meaning around and said, what about the excitement of, I want to know, and maybe it's a yes, and I don't know if it's a no. And so it's those little conversations where it's the same sales call, the same situation, but it's like, yeah, I'm just avoiding doing that, and I'm placing an enormous amount of fear and pain because I'm worried they're going to say no. And so what I'd rather do is I'd rather not make that phone call and think about that maybe I'm still a chance because I haven't made the phone call, versus getting the definitive no, versus what about the excitement of I want to get to where they're at because I might be able to overcome some of those objections. And I'm excited to have that opportunity. And so all of a sudden she went and made the phone call, and it wasn't as bad as what she thought. And how often does that happen? How often does that happen when we sit there and we conjure something up in our mind and we're assuming the very worst case scenario, and we do the event and we go, that wasn't that bad at all. And we do it all the damn time. And it's the meaning that we've placed on that particular moment that is causing us to have all that anxiety around it.
Well, I guess your questions around with her, or discussion with that particular person, is getting a little bit more curious around it. And that was a topic that we talked about a few weeks back. So curiosity can then change some of the meaning behind it as well, Tony.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But it's also the case of, if you don't ever have the call, how the hell do you know if you've won or haven't won the business? Like how do you take a conversation forward? And if you don't win the business, then get excited to understand why. Feedback is fuel. You're not going to win every business. Not everybody that I talk to signs up to be a client of mine, and that's okay. The challenge is, how do I have better conversion of people and understand why they didn't choose to sign up for me? What are the reasons they didn't choose to sign up for me? What can I do differently? How can I learn from those moments so that I'm constantly being better tomorrow than I am today? And if you take that approach, if your approach is, I want to be better today than I was yesterday, and tomorrow I want to be better than I am today. And if you constantly have that approach with everything that you do, and then you look back after a day, after a week, after a month, after a year, you will fundamentally change where your life, your business, your relationship, your health, the whole lot is, because you've got this drive and determination. I want to be better today than I was yesterday, and I want to be better tomorrow than I am today.
I guess our role here is, in what we do each and every Sunday, and what we do in our work, Tony, is to assist and not to advise. So it is, hopefully it's some thoughts that we're giving out there today can really be a strong reflection about what the individuals are doing that are listening right now. Yeah,
absolutely. You become what you think about. You become, look at all those notes. Oh my gosh. you become what you think about. And if the meaning that you're placing on something is one of negativity, or it's hard, or it's challenging, or whatever it is, it will be difficult. It will be difficult, right? Again, when you're tired, try it when you're tired. It's a wonderful, wonderful hack that I always use when I feel tired. And there's nights when I just don't get the sleep that I want for whatever reason. It might be too hot. I might have things on my mind, whatever it is. There are those nights. But if I wake up and I sit here and go, I am tired, I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired, then I can assure you that I will be tired and I won't do much at all. Versus changing the meaning. I can't change the fact that I haven't had enough sleep unless I go back to bed, which I won't. So then it's a case of, well, let's get on with it.
Power forward. That's a great session today for the Sunday Mindset session about finding, looking at the true meaning for each and everything that you do, those words that you say, those actions that you take. Tony, great session as always. Any final thoughts before we go?
Have a wonderful week. See you next Sunday. Look forward to it. Keep the ideas coming. Love the contributions. I love the comments. And this is what makes it, when we're getting the involvement from the community, and today's been excellent. The number of comments have been just, I feel anyway, Luke, I can't see it, but I feel like it's been through the charts, which has been exciting. So have a wonderful week. Think about your meaning, self-awareness, and we'll see you next Sunday. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.